So I've kind of made a video about this because I actually share my journey on social media. So I had a lot of questions like exactly like this. Basically, I already knew what surrogacy was from a very young age because those all those element shows or about surrogates and stuff. So I kind of knew what it was. And then I never really started to think about it or look into it until of course after I started to have kids of my own. So I had 3 healthy pregnancies, 3 healthy kids, and then all of a sudden, ads started popping up after I had my third kid. And I was like, okay, whatever. I would just scroll past it. And then it kept popping up and kept popping up. And that's what kind of made me look into it. And I'm like, I did have healthy pregnancies. Why not just look into it and see if I even qualify, because you have to go through so much to even qualify. So I figured just try qualify. It would be an awesome experience, an awesome journey. So just give it a try. And it would be something I can look back on. And I told myself all this while applying, and I'm like, if it works out, it works out, and it's awesome. If not, it's totally fine. So it's just kind of give it a try kind of thing. See how it goes. I'm from Hawaii, right? Born and raised on Kauai. I did look at a couple other agencies. Being from Hawaii, I just figured why not go with a Hawaii agency, local. I felt more comfortable being that it was a Hawaii agency, and I definitely did my research, and they had a lot of good reviews and feedback. So I figured keep it local. I kind of knew that it had to go through a lot to get to even just this point. So I kind of researched what I had to go through with my previous pregnancies, how healthy my previous pregnancies had to be, what I have to do now, how does my health have to be now. The matching process I was kind of worried about because that's one of the biggest parts of this whole thing was who you're having a baby for. It's funny because one of the most research that I did for this whole process was what to ask the intended parents. I Googled what to ask the intended parents during a match meeting, what should even though I knew, I was still nervous. I'm I want to make sure I get the right questions just to make sure, you're choosing the right people. I kind of already knew though that you had to be healthy and have healthy pregnancies, but I was more nervous and researched a lot about what to ask intended parents. I kind of just brought it up randomly one day because I didn't want to tell him when I was just seeing those ads, because to me at the time it wasn't serious either. But then when I really started thinking about it, I was like, of course I need to talk about it with him, So I just kind of brought it up. I was like, hey, how would you feel if I became a surrogate? At first he was like, wait, what's that? And I was like, I'm having a baby for somebody else, basically. Are you okay with that? Would you be okay with that? And he's like, oh, yeah, I think we're kind of pretty much done. We might just try for one ourselves, but we're pretty much done. And this would be even for him, it's already been a different type of journey. So it's just something really different for us. And he likes different in a way, so he had no problem with going through this with me, so he was all for it. I just kind of brought it up to him randomly. I was like, hey, what do you think? So I'm glad he's been supportive and everything. Yeah. Usually they come to me about it because I brought it up to my closest friends and family when I first was thinking about it. They were all supportive, all for it, but as time went on, they would ask me, oh, so how was that going, and I would be open about it. I would tell them this is where I'm at, this is the next step, and they're all interested, so it makes it so much easier to talk about it. They just kind of want to know okay, what's next, so are you pregnant? I don't know yet. So my son, he's 5. He's pretty smart. He really thinks outside of the box about a lot of things, so I know that he would have understood. So once I signed the contract, that's when I started to talk about it even more because it's gonna happen. I have to talk about it with him at some point. I had to go to Oahu for all these appointments, so he was questioning, and then I didn't really want to bring it up until he was really wondering. So when he did start to question, I just told him, oh, I have to go to a doctor's appointment. He's like, why? And I told him, because mommy's going to try to carry a baby, for another family. And he was like, what? How? How do they do that? And I just told him and explained to him that these people can't have a baby. So I'm going to create one for them and give it to them so that they can have a family. And he was like, that's cool. And he had questions but can we name it? And stuff like that. I'm like, no. My almost 3-year-old recently, I don't know if she just hears us talking about it, she was like, "Oh, baby in mommy's tummy." And I'm like, "Oh, no, not yet." But she's like, I guess because she hears us talking about it. I explained to her in a really simple way, mommy's gonna carry a baby and we're gonna give it away to this people. And I showed her a picture. We're gonna give it to them. And she's like, yeah, like it was so cute. But she understands too. So I have a 1 year old, so obviously she won't understand. My kids are just interested on how that's gonna work. Usually the question I get is, but aren't you gonna be attached to the baby? Like how can you just give the baby away after? And I'm like, well, during the matching process, I had to choose the intended parents. They had to choose me. I wouldn't have chose parents who didn't want communication after. Just explain to them that this family can't, obviously have their own baby. So I'm just helping them out. I still get to have communication after, and I can like call on birthdays. I can call and check up. Of course I'm gonna respect them and give them their space, but I can still have that communication with them throughout their life. So that made it so much easier. But I just explain. I'm just like, yeah, I'm cooking the baby, like you said, and giving it to them and helping someone create their own family. One thing I said too was, at least after this delivery, I can just sleep. I don't have to try to breastfeed. I don't have to take a baby home and raise it. I can rest. And it'll be a vacation for my kids in the hospital. No, I had no preference. I think on my application, I just put I'm open to like everybody, even like singles. It's hard because you want to help everybody. But of course, the ones that I did skip was like who didn't want communication after. That was my main concern, was not having communication after. I didn't want to do another Zoom meeting with another parent and make the decision harder for me to have to choose. So I'm like, okay, I have two good ones. Let's see if they even want me first. So I wanted Jay and Boyd, and they wanted me back. So I'm like, okay, perfect. I don't have to do any more Zoom meetings. Just something about Jay and Boyd, like Jay and Boyd had like a huge family that was there with them and would be able to support them like physically. And I figured that out after meeting with both. And then I think if I knew that, I probably would have crossed off single parents. That's easy. I know it's gonna sound cheesy, but it's like I knew it was gonna be like feel good to help a family. Now actually going through it and like seeing their excitement during the embryo transfer and seeing how they're so excited that this could possibly be happening like so soon for them where they could actually have a baby in their arms and bring the baby home. That is like, I guess, the most rewarding part, because like I said, I knew it was gonna be special, but to actually go through it, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going through all this pain, but like in my butt, but to actually see the outcome for them and how it makes them feel, I think that's the most rewarding part. And I know it sounds cheesy but it's like I've never felt like that before, because I help people all the time, but this is like a different kind of help. Like I'm basically putting my life on the line to help somebody, and that's different. And to have someone appreciate it like how they do is rewarding also. So the thing that I was most scared about was the needles. Because like I'm not scared of shots. Like I'm fine. Like I have a tattoo, I don't mind getting shots, but I never ever in my life had a shot in my butt. And let alone to have my fiance give it to me, who's never given a shot before. That was the most scariest thing. Like that it's been on my mind since I even applied to be a surrogate. I'm like, I'm more scared for the needles than I am for the birth. It's scary. So the most surprising thing was that it's not that bad. Because I ice it before we do it, and it's not bad at all. I mean, sometimes it burns the medicine, but that's the most surprising part, because that's the part that I was most worried about. But other than that, I guess also how I feel, because I thought I would have a lot of side effects from the medication, but I don't. I feel tired a little bit and like I get headaches, but I thought I would be like vomiting and nauseous from the medicine. So I'm surprised that my body's handling all this medication better than I expected. If you're on the line about it, just go for it, because like how I said in the beginning, I don't even know if I even qualified. So that would have to be the first hurdle that you have to go over, is to see if you even qualify. And if you don't, then it wasn't meant to be. But if you do, no matter what, giving someone this blessing is a blessing in itself, for like me, or like for whoever is willing to do it. And it'll be definitely a journey, and it's something, like I said, to look back on. And I don't think anything bad could come out of it, being able to do this for somebody. I mean, other than the pain. But I feel like, being that we had kids before, we know what to expect. That's not the scariest part. Other than, like, God forbid something happens health wise negatively, but it's such a blessing to bless somebody, and that can never go wrong. Take someone special to go through this. So whoever can do it is definitely strong as a mother. I recently started going to church. It's weird because in the beginning I was like, let's just see, just to see. And then I realized that, maybe this is my calling right now for this time in my life. And I never saw it like that until only about a month or two ago, where my pastor was preaching about something and it clicked in my head. I'm like, that's probably why, like, God's using me to do this in this time of my life. And I've never realized that until recently. And it's weird because maybe that's why all those ads were popping up. And like you said, if it's not meant to be, it won't happen. So yeah, it's like all the pieces are coming together as this process goes on. And I realize a lot of things and learned a lot of things about myself, even in my short time throughout this process. So it's been only amazing so far, and I would definitely do it again. I don't know, it's just so weird how things work out. And like, I never thought I would be a surrogate too, but here I am.